up, everyone? My name is Candace Smith, and this is Pasco Connect. On September 1st this year, the City Council in Newport Richey held its regularly scheduled City Council meeting. And usually at this meeting, at the beginning, they have a certain portion called Vox Pox. I don't know why that's called that. I don't know where it came from. That's the name of it. It's called Vox Pox. During Vox Pox, community members are allowed to come up and talk about concerns that they have in Newport Richey. There were about 5 people that got up, maybe 6, because only one of them spoke on something other than the protests. There were about maybe 3 or 4 people that were in support of them and wanted to express, concerns for safety and concerns for how counter protests have been responding to them. And so I would like for you all to listen to them. I know this is public information. You can actually go to the City of Newport Richey's website and you can watch the entire meeting. I love that they have it broken up and you don't have to watch the entire thing. You can just go directly to what you want to listen to. So this information is public. You can go there now. But I know a lot of us are busy. We don't have time to do that. And so we miss out on things that are happening in the community. So I've taken the time to record the entire session. This particular video, the only thing I'm going to play is the community that got up and spoke. However, in part 2, I am going to play the response from the city council. I enjoyed listening to them. I didn't agree with everything that they said, but I enjoyed listening to their responses and I'm going to comment on them. However, I would like to play first the community leaders. I'm sorry, the community that spoke. And I may come back after each one and share a little bit, but I would love for you all to check it out. I did not put their names in it. A lot of people talk about their safety, especially as being protesters. Although they are required to say their name and address during the meeting, I opted to take that out. So this is just, you'll just hear people talking. You can see the video, but you can't see them from that angle. But you will at least get to hear what they have to say. You can find other city council meetings on the city council website. But I also played some responses in another video. You can check that out on pascoconnect.blogspot.com. Or you can go to Facebook on Pasco Connect, or you could check out our YouTube and subscribe while you're there, and you could catch up on everything that's been going on. So I'm going to play that for you now, and then I'll be right back. Check this out.
Wrote something that I would like to speak to you guys about. I've been a resident in this county for 5 years now. I have a couple of young children that go to this local school across from the police station. My children are experiencing racism in your county, and you guys have to stop and listen to us, because it is not even me personally being affected. I have joined with BLM. I know a lot of you are not fans of what is going on, but if there was a conversation to be had, it is now, and you guys owe us that. As much as you might not think, we are not looking to get out here Friday and Saturday night and ruin your lovely evenings at the social. We are not looking to disrupt your lives or to burn, loot, or murder anything. We want our children to feel safe here. We want to feel protected by the police that police us. And we want to be heard by the people who we hire to monitor the affairs that are going on in our community. That is you guys. So when we come here at 7 o'clock at night, it's because we have jobs. It's because we have families. It's because we have no other opportunity to come out here and be heard. It's very hurtful to me, the things that I read that you guys say, the comments online saying that we're not peaceful because we're loud, because we're angry. And I just wanted to come here today and formally make a statement myself that my life is being threatened. People are coming to my home where my children sleep at. I am scared. This is not a political statement. This is not about anything other than the safety of my children in downtown Newport Richey. And I need y'all to understand that is what this is about, and that this movement has given us the capability to have a voice that is in unison with other people experiencing the same thing as us. I am tired, and I would love to stop protesting every Friday if y'all would sit down and talk to us. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so that was the first person that got up to speak, and as you can hear, was very emotional. And as a mom of three African American boys, I definitely feel her pain. I feel what she's saying. I've experienced it. One of the reasons why I did not put my children in school in this county was because I had already spoken to other parents here that had experienced that had took necessary steps to protect their children and were unsuccessful. You know, for a lot of people, this is the first time that they have the opportunity to express it and feel like they're getting heard. So I definitely understand what she has to say. You guys, I want you to please continue to listen to what the community has to say. Take a listen to the next person that's about
Ms.
to speak.
Vans, I've come here today to talk to you specifically. As a public school teacher, a resident of Pasco County for most of my life, I come before you out of love for our community and a desire to fight for social justice. However, as I stand here today, I am disheartened and ashamed of how things are happening here in this county, in this city. Since May, I have proudly stood with the Black Lives Matter protesters, and now racial tensions and disregard for the First and Fourth Amendment are gripping this city. The assault of a Black female county resident has led to the discord in our community. Last month, I witnessed a board member rudely call time and smirk as members of our group spoke. I have witnessed how the Newport Richey Police Department and the chief have consciously or unconsciously sowed discord and distrust through the use of their social media, physical intimidation, and excessive involvement. This past weekend, the chief refused to talk to many members of our group because they had yelled or used inappropriate language in prior meetings. And as a public servant, I would like you to think about how people have lost control. And as a teacher, imagine if I told parents and teachers, I'm no longer going to speak to you because you were mean to me last week. I must, as the police department must, give every citizen my calm attention and ultimately be the bigger person. And I must de-escalate the situation. Since May, we have peacefully protested in the streets. We have not been violent, yet we have been harassed and arrested and followed to our homes and threatened. We are not attacked, yet we have been left broken and scarred on the streets. And in every instance, this police department has aligned itself with the counter protesters and the hate groups. And by doing so, they have directly linked you to the same association. You now stand complicit with the perpetuation of a systemic racial disparity. Our situation is bad that we have reached out for assistance and guidance through the FBI. And as you can see, we're trying to do things the right way by coming to these meetings and protesting. City officers have been seen shaking hands with the Proud Boys and gathering with the Oath Keepers, a group that aligned itself with Kyle Rittenhouse. When the Newport Richey Police Department tries to keep the peace, they show their excessive force by more than enough numbers. Last week, more than enough showed up for a noise violation in the city park. The week prior, 10 cops and 4 vehicles were used for a bike light. But my list could go on, but my time is short. What we need most now is a seat at the table, so all of those affected parties can share calmly, but honestly, what has been occurring in Newport Richey that go far beyond our city limits. I wish to leave you with one last thought. We must act now before we become another city like Kenosha, a city trying to heal after a deadly shooting or serious damage to our infrastructure. The opposition is emboldened every week that nothing is resolved. This past Saturday, a weapon was used to threaten us. And today, people have threatened to burn down our homes. Please act before it actually happens in this city.
Okay, so you just had the opportunity to hear what that gentleman had to say, and he spoke some real truth. I love the example that he gave as far as him being an educator, being a teacher, he does probably run into a lot of situations where, he's trying to have conversations with parents, students, and things get hostile. We know how a lot of these kids are and how they speak, and sometimes how their parents speak. But as an educator, as someone that has committed to doing what he does, like the example he gave, if he decided, oh, because you talk to me mean, now I'm going to treat you a different way, or now I'm not going to even participate or speak to you or whatever, it's like, this is the job I got paid for, this is the job I signed up for. I don't get to do that. And I love that he used that example. And I think we definitely need to hold the city council meetings, city council members and public officials to that same standard. You signed up for this. It's the same way with all of our jobs. When we signed up to do a job, I can't get mad at a customer. I can get mad, but I can't fold my arms and say I'm not taking no more calls, just because if I'm working at Burger King, or if I'm working at, a fast food place where a lot of times people get attitudes, and they curse you out. They say all types of rude things. So you gonna stand there with your arms folded and not take another order? Let's see how long you have that job. The reason why he said that was because council members and people in public seats have gone to the media, have made comments stating they're not going to participate in the Black Lives Matter protest because of the way they're talking, because they don't want to hear, anybody cursing or saying F the police or different things like that. And my thing is, I like the example that he gave. Like, who cares? This is your job. When people are angry, I know we're looking at it and we're like, oh, it's Black Lives Matter. It's black people. It's people just wanting to yell and scream. That's protesting. That's protesting all over this world. When people protest, they're angry. They're not out there because it's sunshines and rainbows. They're out there to get the attention of the people, to draw them to say, hey, we're angry about this. Okay, well, what are you angry about? We're angry because the cops are killing us. We're angry because our kids are going to school and they're being told as they're growing and developing that they're less than. That's a problem in a community and in a country where we're supposed to be created equal. So I applaud him for saying what he said. I applaud him for using that example. He spoke a lot of truth, and I saw them looking, and I really felt like they were absorbing his words and really taking it in. And so I'm grateful for that. Now, I will say that, like I said at the very beginning, not everybody that got up had positive things to say about the protest. So the next two videos that I'm going to play are residents in Newport Richey that live in the area where the protests have been going on. So check this out and hear what
For
they
the
have to
last 2
say, and I'll
weeks,
be
we've
right
had
back.
protests right across the street. I talked to the city police chief. He said that we're trying not to ruffle any feathers. Hopefully everybody will get along, it'll calm down and go away. He was aware that they were armed with so-called enforcers with bats and other weapons hidden behind their signs. This last Friday night, I left the house to go get dinner to get a call that my house has been overrun and my property had protesters in it. I had 9 protesters on private property, not on the sidewalk. I had one leaning up against the car. I had 3 protesters' cars parked in my driveway. One backed in. I had another protester in my backyard. When asked to leave, they were refusing to leave. After we asked them, finally, the second time, getting in their face, they backed up and they moved their vehicles and we ran them off from our property. After all the tension settled down, the police chief came over and said, well, it looked pretty peaceful over at your house. I didn't see anything going on. You didn't see the protesters. You didn't see the cars parked in my driveway. What is the city going to do to protect its residents from these people?
That's all I've got to say. I went downtown, just nosed around a little bit, see what was going on. And when you have your protest, you're wanting to send out a message. You're wanting people to understand what the problem is. You want to be able to talk to them. You want to be able to talk to you in a normal tone of voice. And you try to get together and you work out the problems. That's the way it normally works. That wasn't the way it was Friday night. I went over by his house after I left downtown. I said, well, I'm going to go by, just make sure the house is okay. Because a couple weeks before that, it was on an afternoon, and Jeremy had a couple of protesters in his yard. We got pictures of it. We're just standing there leaning against his truck. But when I got there Friday night, I pulled into the driveway on one side of it, and there's a guy leaning on his girlfriend's car, just kind of peeking in the window. And they just bought a new boat, and there's another guy over there looking at the boat. You got a car backed into the driveway, and it's just sitting there with somebody in the car with the motor running. There's 4 guys just standing out front, just kind of looking around, and I'm thinking, damn, we got all these cops just in this area. They're sitting there. Nobody's over here taking care of the lot. So I was real polite. The first time I walked over and asked the guy, I said, this is private property. If you want to protest, you need to be out in the street. And then we're over on the sidewalk. He got a little mouthy, and I'm a 3-turn non-badass K9 Special Forces, and I'm pretty nice till I get pushed. I get pushed, I get a little bit rough. I had the right on that piece of property. Tried to be nice the first time. He finally got the idea, and he got out of there, so did the other guy. The other 3 guys that was in the front, when I saw them getting a little bit rattled, they left too, and I would have told the guy in the car, says, hey, you need to get that car out of this driveway. If you want to park it, you take it across the street or take it down the street. So, okay, now I got this side cleared. So then I walk around to right at the corner where this fence is. There's 2 more cars sitting there. And I told the guys, look, you need to move these vehicles because you're parked on private property. And according to the city ordinance, you can walk on a sidewalk, you can walk out on the street as long as the street's blocked off, you guys use it, but you cannot get on private property. And I've seen what's happened in other towns from other people that I know. And sitting back and look at this, I would love for everybody to be able to sit down and talk and get along good. And I agree with you. And one of my last commanders, and I had one as a service, was Chappie James. You know who he is? He's a first 4-star black general. He started out as a Tuskegee Airman. He worked himself as a double ace, worked himself through Korea, Vietnam, went to the Pentagon, and finally went over security. And we worked together. The nicest guy I could ever meet. Some of the best friends I've ever had when I was growing up was black people. There should never be any division between any of us. We should all be able to work together. But when it comes to a point to where they're standing there screaming at you and they're threatening you, they're telling you to get out of there, and they'll call you all kinds of nasty names and stuff. If you're an adult,
Mr. Waters.
okay, you just back off of that. But this other stuff, this is going to have to settle down a little bit, or we're going to have some serious problems.
Okay, so you just heard what those 2 gentlemen had to say, and basically they're a father and son, is what I gather. If you go and check out the full video on the Newport Richie's website and listen to the full or watch the full video, you'll see that they're father and son, and the son lives there. The father has lived in the city for a long time, but he came to basically check on his son's residence to see what was going on, with all of the protesting. And, you heard what they had to say. And so I don't agree with, people being on private property and breaking the laws and breaking the rules, because they're there for a reason. I wouldn't want anybody just on my property or whatever, because I'm thinking of my property, I'm thinking of my kids, I'm thinking of our safety and just protecting our stuff. So I definitely understand that. I will say that last little threat, that last little bit didn't go unnoticed to me. I did hear that threat of, if this doesn't change, or if whatever he said, it'll get worse or whatever. I'm like, seriously? You didn't have to add a little threat. Everybody is on edge. Everybody is feeling a certain type of way. But the other people that got up, they didn't leave with a threat. And I feel like that's the big difference between a lot of different groups of people, is that one group of people feel like it's okay to threaten someone, and it's not. I understand everybody is up there talking about issues that they have. So you're not the only one with the issue. It's your property that's being trespassed on. We get it. but a threat for your property being trespassed on when people are actually having bodily harm done to them. It's like settle down, calm down. You do not have to act like that over, someone being on your property. And I understand that he was saying they were, kind of mouthing off and all of this old type of stuff. I wasn't there, so I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? I know another thing that he brought up was the one black person that he know. And you probably can't hear me in the audio because when I recorded it, I didn't realize that it records everything. But I really dislike when people are, especially white people, when they're talking about racism and they bring up the one black person that they know. I don't care, and I don't even want to cuss on here, but that really bothers me. Like, who cares about the one black person that you know in your life? That does not prove anything. Please stop doing that and saying that it justifies, you having your feelings or feeling a certain type of way. One has nothing to do with the other. I can easily walk around this city and, there are people that I may have issues with. I can still walk around them and be okay with them. That doesn't change how I feel about them on the inside. You knowing one black person don't change any way of how you treat other black people. Black people that you know that you just have a lack of respect of. So miss me totally with that. But anyway, you all heard what they have to say. So there's one other lady that got up. I want you to check out what she had to say. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to end this video because I don't want to make it too long. All right. Check it out.
And as a woman of color, I actually don't feel safe stating that since this is on the web. I'm here to try to be a voice of reason, maybe even a bridge for dialogue to a more positive solution that's been happening in our city. As a supporter of human rights, I'm interested in the Black Lives Matter movement. But as a woman of color, I didn't feel safe to be grouped in as a protester. I needed to see for myself what's been happening here locally. So I underwent legal observer training done by the ACLU. What I witnessed was quite disturbing. Officers were socializing with the gang, the Proud Boys, which has been identified as a hate group by the FBI, alongside other gangs that promote violence. I was personally stalked, mocked by several police, including undercover, simply for recording them. The city is showing a trend, in using local police to bully, try to silence these activists with intimidation and hefty fines. Everything we fear, like riots, looting, vandalism, has not happened in the months that these peaceful protesters have been out there. You may be against the protesting, but it's their right to be out there. Your silence has welcomed this chaos of wannabe vigilantes coming to our city from miles away, fully armed, looking for a fight. My greatest concern right now is the safety of our community. Your constituents are not feeling safe under this current administration and under the current police chief that's condoning these actions. It's your job and obligation to provide proper protection for your residents, regardless of political party. It's time for everyone to come to the table and address these concerns and try to move forward to heal our community.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell me what you thought of all of the comments that were presented at the last city council meeting. I would love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share them. Part 2 will be coming soon, which was the city council's response. And let me tell you, it was, interesting. Every last person that spoke, it was really good. Like, they really made sure to respond. And normally during the city council meetings, they wait to the end for whatever reason. But this particular time, they said, oh, we got time today. They push stuff back so that they can respond while the people were there, because it is weird that you go to the city council meeting, you hear, the different ones get up and then they go on with the budgets. They don't even address you, so you feel ignored. But what they do is they wait to the end and then they respond, and they actually mentioned at the end of the meeting that they are thinking about changing the way they do that so that they can respond immediately to people. So I did like that idea. So the next video is going to be the response from the city council. So y'all stay tuned for that. If you can't wait, you can always go to the Newport Richey website. I can't say that all of them are on there, because there are a few that are missing, and I may ask and see what's up with that, based off of some of the council members' responses. So I can't wait to get into that. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Sorry this video ended up being longer than I expected, but it is what it is. If you're interested, hey, let me know what you thought and what your thoughts are. And if you have any, I guess, ideas on how we can as a community move forward, I would love to hear that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would love to hear it. Your voice is important. It doesn't, you don't have to have a title. You don't have to be this special person to have thoughts on what's going on in the community and have a voice and use whatever platform you have to speak on it, or do whatever you can within the law to express that. So with that being said, I'll hit you all up later. All right, peace.